Morning. It is 7 o'clock, Saturday. I picked up a heat exchanger last night, so I'm getting a bright and early start on this job. Reason being is it's cold today here in southern New England. Supposed to get a lot of snow tonight, so I'm expecting some service calls today, so kind of wanted to get this heat exchanger done before noontime. It's a York unit, so it's going to be a little more difficult than any other brand. As far as like carriers are easy, Lennox units are easy sometimes, but Yorks can be a little tricky. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pop the top off the unit, and I'm gonna try to get my ladder as close as I can to this unit so I can be more efficient. Just gotta make sure you burn off the oil on the heat exchanger. So I'm gonna block the supply duct and let the oil burn off in the air, and yeah, so I'm pretty excited. I got my the beanie hat that covers your whole face and your neck, so that's gonna be nice when I'm working on the roof, because where I'm going, it's coastal, it's near the water, so I'm gonna get that real cold sea breeze. So yeah, here we go. All right, all geared up. This is our unit. Pretty old. I think it's R22. So I'm gonna pop off this cover first, and this one, that one, and undo the gas. Keep the tools out of the way. So here we go. All right. Got her torn apart so far, and you see, very commonplace on these Yorks, right at the bottom here, and it's rotted through. So yeah, it's going off on rollout, so I'm gonna rip this out. See what I can do with this. Might have to take this wheel out and give it a scrub down with a brush. So we'll see if I can do it in place, get all those Oreo crumbs off. Yeah, I can do it in place. Alright, so the biggest thing about the York units, I guess, there's screws in places that you don't really see. I mean, there were screws down here. I don't know if like some of these screws, like these holes are covered with silicone, but there's no screws in them. But like, you gotta get all these little screws in the side. I had to bend these back to get the screws, because that holds, I think it holds the heat exchanger in two. So I have to get my flange pliers after, and my hammer, and straighten this out. Yeah, not exactly a quick heat exchanger change out. Gotta be careful on these white roofs. I'm gonna get some pipe wrenches so I can take that gas line apart. So yep, so I got it out. It's pretty difficult. I'm starting to realize, well, I kind of knew this already, but it's been a while since I did a York, but they're kind of a bust for heat exchangers, because this insulation on the side, I didn't have any, I should have came with some sheet metal to wedge in between the heat exchanger and the insulation, so I didn't rip all the insulation taking it out. And this insulation was in really rough shape, just really brittle. So I just ripped it all off. yeah, I was able to keep the insulation on the bottom, but yeah, it's not going to get insulation, unfortunately, which is fine. I mean, the only place you're gonna get some transfer of heat is this side here. So, well, it's an old unit, so if it runs 2 minutes longer every cycle, I mean, what are you gonna do? I might run out and see if they have a new flue box here. I'm just cleaning it up real good. I mean, it hasn't worn through. Just got this putty knife, and getting all the rust off, and I was thinking about just coating it with furnace cement if they don't have a flue box. So we'll see how we make out. All right, so I just got the heat exchangers side by side. They give you new studs to mount the burner, which is good. So these things like to get plugged up, so I might clean that while I have this open. This thing is not in too bad a shape. It's just, so like, the inside of this is good, so it hasn't worn through completely, but I cleaned off all the rust that I could with the grinder. So I'm just gonna coat it with some furnace cement just to give it a little protective coating, and should be okay. So I know it's a little bit hacky to do that, but I called the supply house. They didn't have any flue boxes, so I'm not really sure on this high limit here. They didn't give me an extra one, so just kind of hoping these are good. But I got a ton of high limit switches in my truck, so hopefully if it is bad, I can, or maybe I do have this exact one, so save some of the insulation here. So see what we can do the best we can. That's all you can do sometimes. All right, so I got the burner on the new heat exchanger. I got red silicone on all the seams. Got all the screws. I got red silicone underneath, and I put a little outer bead. So yeah, I think I'm gonna. So like I said, it didn't wear through completely except for these little pinholes here. So I'm gonna start putting some high heat furnace cement here. This insulation here is killing me. Should have been wearing a mask. I got my putty knife, and I'm just gonna throw a thin layer of high heat furnace cement on the flue box, and we'll see how it comes out. Okay, so looking good. So I got this furnace cement on here. Kind of looks like ice cream. Kind of getting hungry. I'm gonna go and grab a coffee next door and something to eat, but I think it's good. I'm gonna let this dry in the sun for a bit. I should have put it on when I had the heat exchanger in there, not thinking, but I'm gonna let it dry a little bit. Like I said, it's not worn off on the inside, so we're good. Everything else is looking good. Yeah, it's kind of, York units are almost not worth doing heat exchangers on, I'll be honest with you. If if you could just replace the rooftop unit, you're better off. I mean, these heat exchangers are pretty heavy duty. They're not like Carrier heat exchangers where they only last, 8 years. I think these York heat exchangers, they last much longer. So by the time this heat exchanger is dead, it's probably time for a new rooftop. But this is my family's property, so I fix all this stuff on the roof. I don't replace anything just because I know I can fix it, and that's how it is, so. All right, so I did get all the cookie crumbs off the blower, so it's all right here. So what I'm gonna do is, I got the supply covered. I'm gonna turn the power, hold my breath, and I just gotta jump out R to G. Alright, so I just turned on the fan, and I got it pretty good. It's not gonna be perfect, but it's I got it 90%. I'm just gonna sweep that crap out of there. Alright, so before I put this thing back in, while you have it out, just clean this nozzle. I just got my micro lead and poked it through. These things, they like to get plugged up on these units, so yeah, it's just gonna be a little more than hand tight. So, alright, should be good. So I'm gonna put this thing back in. Got the barbecue going. Should probably cover that duct. Cover the duct. You don't want any of that stuff going down, especially because it's a Chinese restaurant, and they got the makeup air going, so the building's at a negative pressure. Alright, let's get the barbecue going again. Goes. Man, this heat exchanger is unbelievably oily. It's probably the oiliest heat exchanger I've done in a long time. This furnace cement is hard as a rock already, pretty much. Alright, spray adhesive. Get the fiberglass insulation back on. So I'm gonna put this on top of the unit now. Alright, last but not least, we're gonna check our gas pressure. I reused the old gas valve, so I'm just curious. I'll make sure it's at 3.5. What code we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2. High limit switch is open, so it's going to close down. Short cycle the unit. There it goes. We're actually a little underfired. Let's get I got my knee pads on, by the way. I mean, I don't have my knees on the roof. So we're gonna get this gas pressure to 3.5. Oh no. Alright, I gotta stop the video for a second. Alright, sometimes you gotta do this. Get your channel locks on this thing and get it open like that. Otherwise you're gonna strip this thing. So I got it here. Increase this flame a little bit. Alright. Let's go to, I'm gonna turn it to the right to increase the gas pressure. So I'm just gonna go to the right just a smidge. There we go. It should be good. Yeah, those flames are looking real nice. Real good. So what I like to do is just gonna give that another little squeak. Alright. I like to make sure it's zeroed out. So see that? It's zeroed. Okay. Gonna get this back on. We're at 3.5, so that's it. I know it was a little rough of a job, but we got a little bit of a coating on our flue box there. It's got a new circuit board, new draft motor from the time I worked. This took me a long time. This wasn't easy. So I gotta get to my truck and grab some more screws. I'm gonna let this thing run. In the meantime, I'm gonna put the manometer away. So hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks.